the things that intrigues me about your background, Governor, is the work you did as an engineer. I know you did land remediation and such, which made me think about sustainability and realize it's not something that's been a center to the conversation for the GOP. How do you think about it yourself as a governor, but also at the national level?
So a couple of things. Look, my background is I was a civil and an environmental engineer.
Right.
I cleaned up hazardous waste sites all over the country, and whether it's contaminated soil or groundwater, and it was always done with the idea that you could redevelop these sites and build on these sites and grow and create economic opportunity out of these sites. And sometimes I was the guy that was hired to kind of fight the EPA because the EPA would be too restrictive. They'd say, oh, you can't build here, you can't build here for 30 years, but we'd find a financially viable way to clean something up sensibly and move forward economically on it. And that's the approach I try to bring to government. There are smart, sensible, financially responsible steps you can take, whether it's on climate initiatives or clean energy or whatever it might be. It's not Green New Deal type stuff. That is a disaster. That stuff is absolutely disastrous for the country. This anti-fossil fuel stuff is a disaster. I'm very pro the spectrum of what you need to be successful. And I very much understand that when you talk about a variety of fuel sources or energy sources, what's best and what is best and would create the best opportunity for New Hampshire might be incredibly different for Arizona or California or Kentucky or Florida. So again, you have to let states design their own systems as opposed to this Washington one-size-fits-all, top-down. We're going to, borrow trillions more dollars, spend your taxpayer dollars very poorly. That's the one thing Washington does well is waste your money, as opposed to letting states design their own systems.
But is it would it be a priority for you? And I'm not trying to bait you here. I'm genuinely curious because a lot of, especially younger voters, think about climate change. How big a priority is it for you? I mean, in terms of
huge.
Yeah.
Look, the priority is we are missing an opportunity with the next generation of voter. You've hit it right on the head. The next generation of voter, especially the next generation of potential Republican voter, doesn't want you to be climate change crazy. They just want to know that you're taking the environment seriously.
Yeah.
It's a top priority for them. Even the Republicans and the conservatives, it's a top priority. Homelessness is a top priority for them. And they want to know you're making smart, responsible steps, redesigning systems from the bottom up as they should be to make sure that we're getting the best results without putting too much economic burden on our taxpayers. And there are real ways to do that. We've been very successful with that here in New Hampshire. But too much of the messaging out of the Republican Party doesn't even want to address that stuff. They're afraid of alienating the base or something like that, as opposed to understanding that is the future messaging, and there's opportunity there to be smart, conservative, and responsible with it. And that's exactly what that next generation of Republicans wants to see.
And education, too, of course, which I know is something you've thought about. I mean, I know the student loans are in the news right now, but this education and the need for lifelong education. And I don't know if you want to weigh in on that. I'm not going to go through every issue, but I do think that's an area that, again, we haven't heard as much, except more for what we shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's all about school choice, because again, school choice is about ensuring that the government isn't forcing you through one door. We have some of the best public schools in the country and the best teachers in the country right here in New Hampshire. I'm incredibly proud of that. But maybe for 1 or 2% of the kids, maybe those traditional 4 walls of the classroom don't work as well. So give the parents and the students the option to find the path that fits their needs, whether they be charter schools or private schools. They can now take the state funds that are allocated to them, because it's their money. It ain't my money. It's your money, right? As a parent, you can take those state funds and dedicate them to the best path for your child. And that's something that had never been talked about, but never done before. We started the program, Education Savings Accounts, here in New Hampshire a couple of years ago. It's gone like gangbusters. We're going to try to grow it even from where it is. We focused on inner city families, low income families, families that just have never been even afforded the question, what do you think is best for your child? And by even just asking them that and then giving them that opportunity, holy cow, do their eyes open up and opportunities flourish from that. So it's all built on that model of opportunity, not saying you have to go to this school or have to learn in this way, or you're really stuck to your educational options because of your zip code. That's not opportunity. So we try to, again, just live by that live free or die spirit, that limited government, local control, individual responsibility, opportunity.